Tinika Cudjoe joins us this time around in Author's Corner here on America Tonight with me, Kate Delaney. She's got a great book out that I think so many kids need to read. It's called Finding My Voice. Yes, I Can. Obstacles are made to help form us into a stronger being. And the cover is so brilliant because I think about when you're a kid, the words that you see, the opposite, the positive words and the words that make you feel awful. And that's it, right? Joy, happy, calm, anger, anxiety, hate, sad. And, she has every kind of kid you can imagine represented on the cover. So, Tinika, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
What made you write this book? What was your inspiration?
My journey on myself trying to find my own voice. And then I have 3 children. So, as parents, you always want to make sure that you get your steps right so that the next generation doesn't have to suffer to reach where you last ended. So my most struggle was trying to find my voice and using it in a way that it's not really a weapon, in a way that I don't have to fight and feel like I have to scream in order to be heard. So in learning how to do that, I also teach my children. And then in teaching them and showing them, I've seen how they develop as their own beings. And in doing that, I figured if I can be able to write a book to help even more children, then my goal is to be able to create a standard where the world, in their world, can meet into a space that at least that's one less thing to worry about. And they're our next generation. They're the one that's going to be able to bring us through to the next level. They're going to be our next doctors, our next presidents, our next teachers. So we want our world to have a better platform. And in doing that, we have to look towards the children first.
And it's so wonderful what you just said. This is the conversation we should have more and more and more. We see there's bullying in school. There's kids that are frustrated. There's kids being diagnosed with all kinds of things that maybe might even be prevented because it's holding in those emotions. It's looking at what that means when you have these outbursts. It's relationships. And you talk about this. It's about, as you said, finding your voice and giving them the grace to be able to express themselves. And I think that it's children really of all ages that could read this book, but also caregivers, also teachers. I mean, this is that kind of library that will help open up the conversations. Was it tough for you to find your voice?
Yes, it took me a very, very long time because even though I'm an adult, I didn't grow up learning how to use my words, and strong emotions like anger, frustration, those are hard for me, especially since I'm diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. So emotions are 10 times stronger for me. And it wasn't so bad until I started going through trauma as an adult. And then instead of being able to talk through my emotions, I would throw tantrums and I would fight. But going through therapy and learning how to work through my emotions and also praying, it helped me to be able to get a better understanding about myself, sit in those difficult emotions, learn what they are, where they come from, and slowly and shortly I learned different techniques on how to handle it and learn what my triggers are and how to use coping skills. And I started being able to be more vocal.
Wow, and you talk about that in the book, of course. You talk about how do you find support. You talk about motivation to end negative cycles. And this is a big one, and I know that you know this, is how do you find the patience even when you fall behind? How do you keep up with the work? Do you think that's super significant and that's a thing that really weighs on children of all ages, shoulders?
Yes, for children, I believe their most frustrations that they don't even understand what they're going through. And to try to even explain it to someone else is even 10 times harder because if you don't know something, how could you express it? And for them, the first thing they have to understand is exactly what it is, identifying what it is. And even trying to identify what it is in itself is frustrating, it's hard. So, depending on the age group, depending on the child that you're dealing with, there's certain steps that you have to take. Everybody doesn't go through the same steps the same ways, and everybody doesn't learn as fast as the other. So you have to go in your own pace, and in understanding that, again, you have to first learn who you are and what step you need, and don't put a time frame or a time limit on those things because that makes it even more frustrating.
For you writing this book, what was that like? Was it kind of cathartic? Was it healing? Did it feel good?
It was like a relief. Like, I can't believe I finally made it here. If you would have asked me like 10 years ago, would I be able to express myself the way how I express myself or see or write the things that I do, I would have been like, no, because the way I was thinking, the way I was processing, it wasn't how I am now. It's like in the moment, it feels like everything is just going tarnish all in one is never going to end. But if you give your time, self time, and grace, you don't understand the power that you really have in the long run.
Boy, isn't that the truth? And you're saying it in this conversation. And again, the book is Finding My Voice. Yes, I can. Obstacles are made to help us form us into a stronger being, or again, are made to help form us into a stronger being. And that's what we're talking about. And so, like I said, you're weaving it into the conversation. But what do you hope children or adults or caregivers take away from reading your book?
I hope that they understand to be gentle with their self and understand that the road that they're going is not easy. And even though you make progress, sometimes you're bound to um make those same mistakes. But again, be gentle and patient with yourself because you're learning yourself, you're new to it, and you'll eventually get to where you need to go. Emotions comes and goes. They're not forever. It's like a constant cycle, and they all have reasons and they all have purpose. Even the ones that feels like they're really bad and hard to handle is there for a reason. And when you learn to live with it and learn not to ignore it and learn to understand yourself and each emotions that you carry, you will have a better understanding on what's going on with you. And it doesn't mean that you won't have any reaction or you won't have any bad reaction. It just means that you'll be able to understand yourself better and you'll learn to have boundaries with other people and know how to control your environment.
Oh boy, boundaries and learning how to control your environment. So, so important. Did that make a big difference in your life?
It definitely did because I'm one of those people that likes to put people first and please others. And sometimes you gotta selfishly put yourself first because when you're drowning, sometimes there's nobody there to pick you up and you have to save yourself.
So true. Perfect note to end on. You can get this book, Finding My Voice. Yes, I can. Obstacles are made to help form us into a stronger being. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, wherever great books are sold. Tanika, Cudjoe, thank you so much for coming on the show. And boy, I would love to spread this message. Just let's get to the kids. Let's make this happen because you're right. It's one step at a time, one child at a time. And anybody listening that can express themselves, it's better all the way around when you know how to vocalize what you're feeling.
Yes, thank you so much for allowing me to be on the show. And I hope that this was helpful to anyone that's listening.
Thanks, Tinika.
Thank you. Bye.
Visit us at www.greatwritersmedia.com. Email us at info@greatwritersmedia.com. Or call us at +1 877 556 04